Subscribe to Neutral Bros.
Oh no.
It was gonna be really corny and tacky.
Welcome to episode 6 of Super Neutral Bros. I am Jared.
I'm Eric.
I am Zach.
I'm Jordan.
And we are going to be talking about episode 6 called Skin today.
Hey.
Jordan got his wish.
Yeah, Jordan wanted more action, and action he received.
In one big fucking jump scare.
Yeah. Awesome episode.
Yeah, it was an action packed episode. I thought it was one of the more action packed episodes that we've had so far.
I appreciated that.
So yeah, we get to learn a little bit more about Sam in this episode with because it's his side characters pretty much. It's friends of his, and that's kind of the big overall arching, I think, backstory of this one is: should Sam keep in contact with friends? Dean tells him not to, but it might be something that might come back to bite Sam in the butt if he continues this, because it is a problem throughout the episode for them. So, general opinions on the episode. Overall, I thought it was a very good episode. Like we said, it was action-packed. It was from beginning to end. I mean, opening scene is SWAT scene all the way to the very end where Dean has to pretty much face up against himself. I thought it was very, very action-packed with that. Eric, why don't you go ahead and add on?
Yeah, I really like the episode. Like you said, it's pretty big Sam focus, but at the same time, through the whole skinwalker or skin changer shapeshifter. That's what it was called.
Skin.
Because they mentioned like 3 or 4 different ones it could be, but the shapeshifter thing, we get a kind of cool perspective on Dean's mentality as well. And I thought there was a really cool kind of body horror scene. There's like and there's a great jump scare and a badass fist fight in it. But yeah,
I enjoyed
overall, go ahead.
I enjoyed the episode. It clipped along well. I think this was our first uh, preview of a situation, and then we jump back.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm thinking correctly, they had used that method before, which as I'm watching, I'm immediately going, I either got a body changer, or once they bring up the murder thing, I'm like, did Dean just pretend to be this guy to like drama? It got you thinking a little more about the episode instead of just playing catch up the whole time, which was nice. Let you in a little bit on where things were going. The action was great.
Go ahead, continue.
That body horror scene, it was fantastic.
Shockingly graphic for broadcast.
We can talk that one through later, but that was probably my highlight of the episode. Was just that definitely raised it up in my mind purely for its memorability, or scarring factor, depending on how you want to look at it. But yeah, no, it was a solid episode, and I enjoyed it. Jordan?
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. I wanted more action, and I got it. I completely forgot how this episode. I couldn't remember any of it. So it was nice to see. I actually got some fighting and shooting and all that cool junk. Yeah, that body change scene was pretty awesome. Yeah, we can talk more about that later. But yeah, I thought it was pound for pound. I loved it. I thought it was great. One of probably my top 3. I guess we've only seen, was this six now? Definitely top 3 for me.
Tough to do, right? Tough to do.
Tough. It's tough.
I am pretty excited the fact that Zach finally got 2 in a row.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
2 good ones.
That's some momentum building here, which is cool. Now if it's a stumble, it won't feel as big, and if it continues, it gets really exciting. So, yeah. Ready for the next one already.
Just building up towards that. So let's go through some of the side characters that are added in this episode. First off,
Short list.
What?
It's a short list.
It is. It's not a very long list of characters, but first off, we're shown Rebecca Warren, and you don't realize it's Rebecca at the beginning. And the flashback, or I guess in the flash forward, but she contacts Sam, and she is pretty much the main one who is in contact with Sam about it's her brother, correct?
Correct. We see a picture of him, and that's it.
No, we see him.
Well, we see a guy dressed as him.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we see the changer as him as he's looking for his next victim. But yeah, that is Zach there. But Rebecca obviously has known Sam from his Stanford days, and she seems to trust him because she lets him know about her side of the family, that type of stuff, what's going on.
Have you known her?
Yeah, and so that's their big contact throughout. And as you'll see for them with Rebecca, it'll be kind of going back and forth where she wants to help or wants Sam to help because they convince her that Dean is a cop, which is another fail for them.
Oh, for like 9.
Which I need to just speak my truth here. When they told her, he goes, "Oh yeah, well, my brother's a cop." He goes, "Well, a detective." I'm like, this is the first time that's gonna stick. There's no way she busts him on this. And then later in the episode,
I told my lawyer. Oh, I told the lawyer.
I think
why
every
would you
time.
do that? That's what he said.
Yeah, why would you do that?
Also, we'll get into that later, but I got some additional thoughts for the way that leads.
I was so confident. I was like, this cover is gonna stick. Like, this is the one. This is the time it works.
Oh, I put it
wrong again.
From Bisbee, Arizona. They're in St. Louis, Missouri.
Yep.
Where the fuck is Bisbee, Arizona, and how is it big enough to have a fucking detective?
But as we meet Rebecca, she gets pissed off at them because she allows them in the crime scene and finds out that they're lying. But then Dean comes back and as the changer, and she lets him in the house. Right.
Yeah.
And so that just kind of leads throughout that whole thing. Actually, the changer uses her identity too to get to Sam.
There's Beck's got some great scenes throughout the episode. Honestly,
she is the big side star of this episode.
Oh yeah, but like just the scene like when they first show up to her place. It's a little moment where she's like, "You guys want a beer?" And Dean's like, "Yeah," and Sam's like, "No."
No.
Yep.
The follow up to that though is one of my favorite parts of the episode. Where he's like, "We'll take those beers now," and he's like, "And a couple sandwiches." Like, what do you think this is, Hooters? And Dean's like, "I wish."
Yeah.
I wish.
And so then our next side character that we're introduced to is a guy named Alex. Seems like a businessman that is going into work. And this is when the changer, I'll call it, is looking like Zach, and he's pretty much looking for his next target.
Yeah, that's the creepy stalking scene.
Uh-huh. And so then all of a sudden we get a flash to Alex coming back home and seeing the bloody handprint, finding his, I'm guessing, wife. I didn't catch if it was his wife or girlfriend,
Something.
but finds her tied up, and then hears something to go and goes and checks on it without finishing untying her or anything, and is pretty much taken aback when he turns a corner and he sees himself and then gets knocked out with a bat.
Yeah, so let's talk about how fucked would it be for your wife's last thoughts to be that you're torturing her or killing her.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Like that scene where she's just like screaming at him, "Please don't hurt me anymore," and he has zero fucking understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of hard to watch.
Yeah, a little bit.
If you're putting yourself in there, yeah.
So yeah, that he is pretty much one of the last side characters that we're introduced to. I mean, I'm looking at the character list right now.
It's literally just like
And
the
then-
cop.
Pretty much
That's
it. Yeah.
Not even the cops, like the bystander who tells Sam and Dean what's going on after
that's a,
that killing by Alex.
I would add a character. I think
Go ahead.
this is probably this is the first episode where the creature or the monster of the week is a character of itself. Like it's got its own thoughts, its feelings, expressing itself. It has kind of its
dialogue
own
with it,
goals.
yeah.
And talking to him.
Its own actual like scenes focused on it as
As a character.
a character, not a threat or in an act of like.
Just a monster.
I don't know how to put that,
terrorizing
but-
people.
Yeah,
Yes.
like he's literally talking about how he just wants someone to love and connect to him.
Yeah.
Given an emotional state, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's kind of interesting because throughout the episode, especially when he is posing as Dean, you get this idea that he is actually taking in his thoughts and hearing everything
Yeah,
of
very
his and
much
seeing
so.
his memories.
Yeah. Like the kind of the pickup on that is interesting. I really like the way they used that as a way, even though this is a very Sam focused episode, it was a great way to turn around and kind of give where Dean's at, like this kind of vulnerability of he feels insecure, he feels like his loved ones keep leaving him, he's all by himself. Like regardless, like he's been completely loyal to
Upset he
his
went away to
dad.
college. Things that Dean was not going to say
Yeah.
outside of a dire situation or a huge thing. We can get that info divulged and get that out there. Yeah, absolutely.
I was
Yeah. Go ahead, Eric.
I was actually thinking at one point because I can't, like I said, I can't remember how this season goes for like except for the big strokes. I was thinking the shape changer might have taken over Sam and been like revealed the whole like he knew about his fucking girlfriend dying weeks in advance because he'd been dreaming about it, but it never happened.
Mhm.
Yep. So that's pretty much all the side characters for this episode. Very short list. For Sam and Dean, we've kind of talked about it, how it is a Sam heavy one because it is focusing on his pretty much his side to side characters with
Girl.
Rebecca. Yeah, Rebecca. And so yeah, that is, and what is this like their, I don't know, how many episodes in a row have they told someone what they actually do? Like they're not keeping this really a secret anymore because
Might
she
as well
finds
be
out
on a
at the
card.
end. Exactly.
Yeah.
Just put the
Paranormal
Ghostbusters
investigator.
sign on the side
Ghostbusters.
and then just start
Mhm.
driving that sucker around.
I think it's one of those things though that everyone they're telling, or people are like, well, who the fuck are they going to tell? No one's going to believe them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, okay, so is her brother still screwed?
No, because remember at the end, at the
Yeah.
very end of the
Oh,
episode, because
Yeah, they say.
I literally wrote down like, how's her brother gonna get off though? And like, well, a guy named Dean Winchester did all the murders, and it's like, and they have his body.
Right. So yeah, that's what I'm wondering too. After the changer is dead for so long, does he molt out of that again? You know what I mean?
He didn't.
Like-
he didn't.
like-
yet, so maybe
Right.
it'd be really.
He's just stuck in that.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine they take that and they're observing the body, and all of a sudden it just melts into this weird.
Right. It just molts to
Yeah.
nothing again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's Missouri. They pretty
Oh
much
my
just
God.
take him and
Oh
throw
my
him
God.
on
If you
fire.
get in the
I think
river and
he-
you get
like,
out, it looks the same.
Right.
Now,
So,
you're
yeah,
probably
Go ahead.
wondering why there was so much SWAT presence. Like, oh, there's real like cop presence in this one compared to everyone else. Because some white women died.
Oh my God.
Some white women in St. Louis. Like, that gets the cops' attention in a suburb.
prominent
Like, not only was it white
Republican
women,
members.
they had enough money where they go to Paris for the half the year. Like, these are
Yeah.
people with
Dead
money.
giveaway.
Mhm.
That's
Probably
why
why I
SWAT was-
didn't give a shit about any of them dying. I heard that. I was like,
Mm.
Eat the rich. It's all
Eat
that
the
Zach's
rich.
thinking.
I didn't think that. I was just like, I don't see why I should feel bad for any of these people.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm kind of just looking through my list, and because all my notes are obviously in chronological order. Love the fact that he's like keeping in touch on email with a Palm Pilot. Like, it is
Mhm.
2005.
He's got a little
The little
Stylus.
stylist for it. Yep.
As I'm watching that, I was just wondering, and if someone can explain the technology, is that coming in through like text SMS waves, or is
No,
no
it was-
Wi-Fi?
It's early 2G.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Go ahead.
Say, speaking of it being 2005, the opening scene, like when it's like turns out it's the Mean Dean, but with the music and everything, was while very stylish and cool, was very much a like product of the mid 2000s
Oh yeah.
with like the hard rock and like the edit cuts and all that.
hmm
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like you could have cut that into a mid 2000s Marilyn Manson music video and it would have fit
Right.
right in.
Evanescence video and
Oh yeah,
Couple
Mhm.
of things I want to touch on though for this, for Sam and Dean. And Sam's is, I just noticed it in the last fight scene when he is fighting the Dean lookalike.
Doppelganger.
Yeah. So his hands and his feet are tied, and he gets his hands cut, like he gets the rope cut off his hands. His feet are still tied at the beginning of the fight.
I was
He
born to
gets the
the
shit
same
kicked
thing.
out of him, and all of a sudden he has a good stance. And his feet are no longer tied.
Forget about it.
Like he gets kicked into the bookcase, and he gets up, and his feet aren't tied anymore.
the sheer force.
The sheriff.
It's probably a really sharp edge, like probably got like a really good paper cut on the books as it came with the feet.
He got hit
Just hit
so
the rope.
hard it would have killed him and knocked his shoes off, which is how you know he would have died. But
Oh
because the
my
rope
God.
was there, the rope flew off instead of his shoes, which
Oh
means
my
he didn't
gosh.
die. Getting the rope off while keeping him alive, entering him back into the fight against Dean,
He's a professional.
which he won the last time.
Yes.
My question was: is he fighting a guy that has Dean's fighting skills?
I believe so.
It seemed like it because he mentioned like I like this body. It can, or I can't remember what he said. He said
It
something.
gives
No,
you
like,
special
I'm
skills or
I'm
something
assuming he's
like
got
that.
the physical
that.
skills. If he's got the fight knowledge there, then we've got a hands down proof that Sam takes Dean in a fight.
Yeah, but we also have Sam starting to like.
well, Sam lost the
Got it.
fight though.
Well, okay,
But
right.
the question is so does this thing have kind of a little bit extra power too? Because you see it when they're in the sewer system when Dean
Which-
gets the crap like slapped out of his arm
Yeah.
and he feels like he broke his damn arm from him being dressed up as Alex.
Which
Maybe Alex. Was
let's
just
talk
a
about that
beast.
scene for. Let's just talk about that scene
Yeah.
for a second
Been
because
doing some
the way-
lifting.
when they go into that fucking for one, I have like why the fuck are you going into the sewer written down like 5 times in my notes here. But when they go into that sewer system, and for one, we already saw the one skin that it shed, which is disgusting.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, oh, look at all these skins, and you think, oh, they're gonna find some clues in the skins or something, and then it just the camera just cuts back to Dean, and he's like right the fuck there, with glowing eyes. Yeah, was for one,
Doped right out of that.
it's like I fucking was not expecting it at all.
Is
Yeah.
that the jump scare that you're talking about? Because you keep mentioning
Yes.
the jump scare. Okay,
Yes.
The jump scare.
Okay.
Yeah, that one got like for one, I wasn't expecting it whatsoever from that direction. Like I was like, oh, there's gonna be a noise up ahead, and then they'll creep in.
Not
The,
one Ninja Turtles joke, so there was the missed opportunity there.
Motor Shredder.
Unwatchable.
We did get a Star Trek reference with the Vulcan grip.
Oh, the
Put that down
mind-
there.
Vulcan
I was like-
mind meld.
Yeah.
Yeah, mind
Like-
melt.
Mhm.
It's like also it tells you a little bit about Dean. Like he seems kind
Mhm.
of jockey, but he knows Star Trek.
Which, yeah, I mean, for his age,
Right.
that's impressive. I think maybe
Um,
he's next generation, but
Mhm.
neither here nor there.
Second thing I wanted to talk about with it would be just Dean this time is I'm wondering like, and I kind of look forward to seeing like him having to square up and shoot himself pretty much.
Yeah.
Even though he knows it isn't him, is that going to have some type of permanent effect on him or anything like that? Which I don't even know if they'll really touch on, but like you kind of, you know, it's in those shows like don't shoot me, shoot him, that type of stuff when there's multiple lookalikes and he squares up and he fires twice into this thing, and that those gunshots launched the look like halfway across the damn room. It's just two to the chest.
Oh yeah. Well, silver bullets attack with a little extra punch.
Yeah.
Right, true.
Yeah, what's the mass ratio? Silver versus
Lead.
lead, steel. What are they normally firing out of this?
And I like how they touch on, you know,
Silver hollow points.
I know one thing that can deal with this, and he's like silver bullets, and then they're talking
The
about
heart.
how this job may get lonely, but man, does it have its perks as he holds up a
Well, the-
firearm in open daylight.
It's like-
That is
Like,
that's like I literally wrote that down. It's like
It-
if it has
the
its perks,
ATF
let's
has
go
to be
kill
actively
things.
watching these two. Just say,
and that is for the two boys from Kansas with a Marine daddy. Like that's just baked into your DNA. There's no escaping that. Like we gonna shoot things. Yeah, I think that's lawyer sounds dumb. I can shoot stuff and just
right.
I was put on this earth to kill things, and I'm gonna do
I'm
it.
Speaking of them doing their job, I wanted to just jump over to a scene that I thought was just fucking a little ridiculous, and can't believe they did it. For one, when they go to the first murder scene, the crime scene, it's fucking gruesome. Like the amount of blood and stuff they have on the walls is great.
Right.
Mhm.
But they're like, oh, we'd really like to. Can you reach out to your lawyer and see if we can get a copy of the camera, like of the footage? And she's like, oh, I have it. I stole a copy because I want to see it for myself. It's like, what she just said was, I committed a felony in front of someone she thinks is a cop.
True. I didn't think about that actually.
a
I
Bisbee,
didn't know that either.
Arizona cop though.
Bisbee,
Yeah,
Arizona.
you have no
You
power
You have
here.
no jurisdiction here.
This is
Bisbee.
But yeah, and I think here's what I think is this episode actually kind of does a good job of introducing people to like the type of actor that of Dean and Jensen.
Jensen Ackles.
Yeah, how good he actually could be because when he's going after the girl,
Oh
and
my
stuff,
god.
Oh yeah.
right?
Oh
It's
yeah.
it's pretty good stuff. Like
It's like,
it's
oh. We
yeah.
know what Jensen Ackles
it's
would
a
be like if
flip
he's a
of the
rapist.
switch.
Oh my God. Well,
I said if.
he used to be in a soap opera, so I don't know what happened in that, but you know.
I think
maybe-
he was actually in Days of Our Lives at one point, if I remember correct.
I think that sounds right.
I thought every actor in Hollywood had to start there.
All
was
my
the-
children,
Or
and
one
then
of
you
you
move
must
on.
go
General
past
Hospital
go.
days, or
Yeah.
that's our next show, by the way, right? We're doing
Oh
days.
god.
Can we
Days
go back to the
next.
very first one?
We
We're
only
gonna
have to
watch-
watch like
Spoiler
3
alert.
seasons because they
We're-
just repeat after 3.
We're gonna have to like get these on like 8mm reels or something for when it started back in like the 60s, didn't it?
Yeah.
Let's not do that.
Any missed moments?
Oh, I got like for one, I thought the whole investigative process was really well done. Like I like the kind of steps they went through, finding things like the little things like, well, like is it even a thing of ours? Like the dog noticed it. Dog
Right.
gets that spirits and terminators.
Yeah. The dog is the first one to notice it, and they distract her by getting her to go get the beers and stuff so that he can talk about the eye flare or the whatever the photo flare.
Yeah. I thought this was going to be just like, oh, it's just going to be a very subtle monster this time.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got I think the biggest moment we haven't talked about yet, which is that fucking transformation scene.
Yeah.
Which is like, oh, we're going to get a shirtless Dean scene. Like, that'll make Zach happy. And then I was like,
I was quite happy, and then I was
disturbed.
I was too impressed by how outstanding it was to even be disgusted. I think it just, I was very disgusted by it, but oh my god, it was beautiful. It was great,
and it was a practical effect too, which was nice.
Yeah.
The teeth part got me.
Oh yeah. Oh.
I think that was my favorite part was that they did so many things. They're like, what's a list of just really would bother people, and they're like, we're not doing one. We're gonna cross off like 3 or 4 of these, so everyone is.
You're ripping off your own skin.
The ear skin. Oh man,
that ear just hit the
fucking ear ground. Sloughing off. The teeth one hit me hard, and then everything else was just. I was just like, it's gonna keep going. Wow.
Oh.
And
I forgot about the ear. That was
nasty.
It
looked. My vote right now, probably best effects period of the show.
Oh yeah.
Right. Followed up by the worst effects of the show so far, which was the car driving away at the end.
I don't even think I
was waiting for Zach to bring that up.
I was on such a high from that.
I was waiting. I normally don't notice the car things. I noticed this one.
This one.
It looked pretty
I think I was right.
Tried to CGI a Hot Wheel. Like took a Hot Wheel, expanded it, made it larger, and tried to blur in the lines. Or like it just
tracked it around. If I went and tried to make that scene right now, that's what it looked like.
And you had like 45 minutes to do it. Yeah.
All right. I think that's a nice lead into the creature of the week. This creature. But Eric, unless you have something else you want to add any more on missed moments.
Just basically from after they get out of the sewer, after being captured, like we got to put an ABV. Like we have to call in the police on you to keep her safe. And it was like the sketch goes up of what he looks like.
Because they didn't even get it right.
It's not even a good picture.
It's not even a good picture.
Also, the fact he looks like you. You picked the handsome one.
He kept saying let's go get that handsome devil. You good-looking son of a bitch.
Yeah, that was just.
I love the fact that Dean kind of just these quick series of lows where it's not even a good picture, and then he steps in a puddle immediately. He's like, God damn it! And then he's like, we don't have any weapons. He took the car. He's he's so worried about his car. He's like, I can't see anything driving my car.
That was probably the angriest part. Okay, he's trying to kill this girl, whatever, but he took the car. That's why he's not
my car.
Yeah, all of those snippets from him were just.
And the last thing that I want to mention before we get into the rest of it that I have down here is I love the fact that Becca went from she sees Dean attack her. As far as she knows, Dean is just attacking her and torturing her. To I've escaped that situation to I got knocked out, woke up in the sewer, and watched someone who looked like you turn into me. And she's just immediately with it. She's like, yep, clearly that's a real thing. And just as soon as she sees Dean, she's like, you're real. You're actually here saving me. I was like good on her, because a lot of characters, you would have had to go through the whole trip of like,
Oh
like,
my God.
nope, you can put the idea of shapeshifters in my head. I watched it happen. Let's fucking roll.
We're good now.
Yep.
I don't need
I'm
convincing.
intelligent enough to not hold the plot back.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't have Mr. Mime from the Lake episode trying to figure out things. So, yeah. So thoughts on the creature of the week? We kind of talked about it, touched on it already. I mean, and also I kind of wanted to how we talked about how maybe he has a little bit more power because, you know, he throws when the SWAT team is coming in after lookalike Dean, and he throws the knife at the one, and then he pretty much like jumps off the second floor balcony and does a roll and starts sprinting right away. Like, I'm not saying that Dean couldn't do it, but
absolutely.
No,
I think it's fair to say that this thing was obviously it's a
enhanced some way.
Supernatural creature.
Ooh, there it is. There it is. The one that we
gotta say it. Gotta say it.
We had it.
Our first time.
We'll see you next week, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, we did it. I think we can just wrap the whole thing up.
Supernatural.
He fucking said it.
Superman 4, the quest for peace.
No, we have to cut that. We should actually try and go into the last episode and then finally say that was like this supernatural occurrence.
I'll just
and
bleep
then,
it
and
out.
then be like, wait a
Time.
second, this is the first. Yes.
Every time we say it before the last episode, I'll bleep.
But no, I think that's a fair assessment to say that it's going to have its own additional
stronger than the average
feats or traits or abilities. Yeah. You need to turn into an old woman.
Right. Anybody want anything else they want to touch on with the creature of the week?
I've got one thing.
I knew you would.
Yeah, of course I do. I got a.
Hi, my name's Eric, and I have to get the last word in.
Mine's quick, so let me just say that again, that unskinning scene, the teeth, it was so good.
Yeah.
Get ready for shitty CGI for the rest of the season, because that was all their money for the rest of the season.
What made it so good is like it had so much potential to just be awful. Like they could have done it really
if you
bad.
phoned that one in, like the smoke monster in the airport and stuff. Yeah, it flies through a vent, it flies into a guy's face. Like nobody's done that very well. This one though, like you cannot phone in those effects, and since they put all the effort in, it came through great. It looked amazing on the shots that matter. I'm just happy to see that it's like, this is important. We're going to get this piece right. Like doing that one half-assed would have been so much more offensive than some of the other stuff. So that just, again, I want to give them a shout out for that. That was amazing.
The thing I was going to mention is, so basically all Sam and Dean get to is it's a shape changer. I like the fact that the monster itself explained its origins in that scene with Becky, where he's like, born deformed, hated, and then becomes what it is. I think that is probably I really like the way this monster was done. Like when we talk about re-ranking the top 5 after episode 10, like he's moved into the list.
Right. Yep.
I think we need to shorten that into a Mount Rushmore.
Right.
5 is too many. I think 4. You need to have 4.
Right.
Nice even number.
So let's go into scariest favorite part of the episode. I don't know. There wasn't really anything like scary. I would say like the combination of scariest and favorite was probably the shape shifting, just because for me, freaking scariest was like the teeth and the damn fingernails popping out. Like, nope,
unsettling.
But yeah, That's my probably combination of scariest and favorite for this episode.
Well, so I don't get the last word. I'll just go next. I think my favorite scene, like, is actually the shapeshifter as Dean talking to Sam while he's tied up the first time. Just because it was a really cool introspective on Dean and the monster at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think within that scene might be my favorite line in the episode. It's like, you know, Dean would bang her if he could.
Yeah.
Quickly followed up by the transformation scene, just because it's pretty fantastic.
Right.
I'll go next. I'm gonna give Jordan last word here. I think it's pretty clear what my favorite scene was, and I think I hadn't under the lens of what we've seen already. You know, Bloody Mary episode when the girl is looking in the mirror, blood starts running down her face. I am like this, ready. I'm like, if these eyes pop, I don't think I can handle it. Doesn't happen. So when this scene begins, I think I was feeling a little safe and a little protected there. And I was like,
oh, you were mistaken.
They're not going to show
right.
it.
I was like, well, it can't be that bad. They're not going to show eyes pop. They're not going to do anything. And then this process begins, and I'm immediately just like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
And they keep going. The skin, like the shirt. I mean, it's stuck in there. That was great. But yeah, I think prior episodes, you know, they didn't go that far. They had opportunities and didn't. So I think when they finally do pull the trigger on it, even as a fresh watcher of the show, I don't know what the limits are of where they're going to reach on this kind of stuff. So seeing that and having them go, no, we're willing to go beyond is cool. I know in the future there's a lot more possibilities that can zip through my head on what can happen for a monster. So that's exciting.
I think definitely the most unsettling scene was the transformation scene. It was just, I wasn't expecting it to go that far. I thought we would start seeing it, it'd cut away, and then boom, he changed.
Maybe get a silhouette of something.
Yeah, like something like that. So seeing it was awesome. But yeah, it was the most unsettling scene. But I think my favorite scene was the fight between Sam and the shapeshifter when he cut himself free and then they beat the hell out of each other. I think that was my favorite scene probably because I've been waiting for a good fight scene, and that was really good, I thought. My one thing about that scene was the way he held that knife. Immediately pissed me off. Because he did like this thing where he swiped, like where, you know, I just dropped my pen, but whatever.
I would not recommend fighting with a knife.
He's holding it that way, and I was like, why are you holding it that way? Immediately disarmed. But anyway, other than that, it was a great fight. And it was cool to see, like, Sam held his own against Dean / the
Monster.
shapeshifter. Yeah.
And I kind of want to add on to Jordan, you know, saying Sam kind of stepped up and did that, because actually this is one thing that I kind of just remembered was he's always on the lookout in this episode, and he kind of shows it because when shapeshifter Dean asks for the keys and he catches it with the injured arm, Sam realizes it right away.
Well, even the question he asked him before was
right.
The immediate cue of, do you remember that time?
Then he gives the right answer.
Yeah.
Right.
So he was already thinking about it.
He still pulls the gun on him. Right.
Yeah.
Because I think for all of us, before he confronts him about it, I heard the question. I go, oh, he's already thinking that this isn't the real Dean. He's checking, and Dean passed. And in my book, I was like, he totally passed. And then when he busts him on it, I was like, oh wow, like.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so going into what are we looking forward to for the next episode? And the next episode is called Hookman.
We did miss one thing we usually do.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep, I apologize. We need to do our body count.
Body count and kill of the week.
Yep.
Hmm.
So body count, there was only one on
3.
screen.
2 on screen. Shapeshifter and the guy who got fucking knife like the cop.
Oh well, no,
Okay.
that'd be 3 because the wife,
Oh,
2,
Alex's wife?
Alex's wife.
Yeah.
So 3, I guess. But we don't know if that cop died. He just took a knife to the chest. He's got body armor on.
yeah, he fell pretty quick.
I mean, you take a serrated knife to the chest and you tell me you don't fall very quick. But
Well,
yeah,
that's fair.
so 2, possibly 3. They didn't mention on if that SWAT guy was going to pull through. They didn't see the need to add if that was.
He had a
They
family.
want to show
then
firefighters coming in and pulling him out to save his life.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
That was a pro firefighter statement. So
I
I'm
know.
balancing.
We love firefighters.
We're gonna
here.
be frickin'. We're gonna be
Fair and balanced. We are the super neutral bros. I'm
We're
getting us back
neutral.
on. I'm getting the scales back in line here.
perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
There's no bias here.
Okay, so kill of the week. I mean, you've got pretty much 1 of 2. If you're counting the SWAT guy, you have 3.
It's
I'll
definitely
go-
gotta be. Oh,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was
Nope.
gonna- It's got to be the monster death. Like you get it with a big ass fight, and then you get Dean put in 2 rounds through his own chest.
Right.
And like the way he looked at his
Wait, had a
dead
gun
body.
kill yet?
That's the
Well, you'd count the flare gun.
No.
Flare gun.
You're not going to count the flare gun?
I think
No.
that's it.
It's every game you play that is not a primary
The flare
Side
gun
weapon.
primary
is
defense.
That's
the-
it's
is the
not. It's usually not even a side weapon. It's like it goes in your grenade slot, so it's not a gun.
utility, yeah.
You know, when you get kitted out in the army, they're not like, here's your flare gun and your rations. No, I want a real gun. That's not a gun.
You get a wooden gun.
Yeah.
And
nice linseed oil. And everybody wants to know. Thank you.
It's
Now.
like-
I want to send a thank you note.
right. So I'm calling my first official gun kill, which puts it at the kill of the week for me too.
Nice.
I'm there too.
Agreed. Just
Counterpoint?
We are
Nope.
unanimous on that one.
The way he looked at his dead body afterward was kind of like, I don't know. It made me think. Like it looked like he was like.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not
really
gonna lie.
affected by it.
I'm not going to lie. I was waiting for the end when they were driving for his eyes to flash.
Oh my god!
You got the wrong guy.
You killed the wrong dude.
And we were talking earlier. I think as far as like a psychological impact, it would be a lot harder if it was a Sam shot versus you knowing you are you
Right.
and taking out your opponent versus even if in the end you're like, okay, we have verifiable proof that thing melted into a puddle and
Yeah.
died. I know I shot the right guy.
Right.
The act of pulling the trigger on your brother, I think, would be a lot
Yeah.
more difficult than your lookalike, which you
Yourself.
obviously know
'Cause
is
you know
is
it's
an
not-
enemy.
Yeah.
All right. So, one thing that this episode did establish, though, that doesn't really address it too well, is they pin all the murders on Dean. But there is a period of time in here where she gets saved by the cops. And like, who did this to you? And she's like, Dean Winchester did this to me. He came here with his brother Sam. And then they pin it all on Dean, and he's dead. And they're like, well, all's well that ends well. You don't think they're going to be like, hey, what happened to his brother Sam? And they're just having a polite conversation with her. Like, all of his other friends
Hey.
are going to think that, hey, remember Sam, who we were in college with at Sanford? Yeah. Like, his brother fucking murdered Becca's brother, or Becca's
And then
brother's
died.
girlfriend, and then fucking two other people in town, and then he fucking tried to murder Becca, and then he died, and then Sam just walked away, and they never fucking saw him again.
And it's all good
Like-
now.
You think he's
Two
gonna keep it
words.
You think those email
St.
contacts are
Louis.
going to keep up?
St.
St.
Louis.
Well done,
What
work,
happens in the
boys.
STL.
Well done, work.
Another job well done. Clean. We're good.
It's just been revoked.
Not my problem.
Good point, though. That was a good point.
Yeah.
All
Drove
right,
me
so
fucking crazy at the end.
to begin wrapping up here, what are we looking forward to next week? I mean, next episode, not next
Name
week,
of the
but next
episode again?
Hookman.
Let me go first.
David
And that way I don't
Jones.
get any of your undue influence, having seen this before years prior. I'm going to call it right. I'm going to call my shot Babe Ruth. It is the campfire story of the guy with the hook that gets left on the door handle of the cars of like the teenagers making out. That's the guy. That's the monster of the week. Gotta be it.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it plays out for him. Works out for him.
Everyone else just like, yeah, go ahead.
I don't remember this episode. I truly don't. I was looking through the episode list. I'm like, oh, I don't remember that one. I don't remember that one. I probably fell asleep in that one. So I don't know what to expect with this one. Jordan finally got what he wished for. He wanted hand-to-hand combat. He wanted gunfights. I think that's going to probably be it for a while. I think it's going to be solving stuff again and having to probably do rituals to end things for a while, which I actually kind of enjoy because it's them finding out a way to beat the thing that they have to. They have to know how to beat it. So this checklist of things that we have to do, we do this to beat it.
I think you're
That's what I kinda
misremembering
like.
what Jordan said he wanted prior. He didn't want action. He said, I want to see some Sam on Dean action.
Oh, boy.
He didn't really specify fighting.
Play the tape
You gotta
back.
put that in
Play
a
the tape
specific
back.
search bar for that one.
Yeah.
Trust me, there
Don't-
is plenty of
do
search
not
bars
put
for
that in
that.
a specific
No,
search bar.
no.
No.
And definitely don't follow it with Rule 34 because
Oh my
No.
I haven't been there,
Oh.
but I can promise you there's something there. Maybe that'll be our cover art. If we can pay, if we can afford the rights,
No, God, no.
and we could paste our faces on that.
No.
How did you lose your job? Well,
Well,
Yeah, let me show you.
fun story.
Sorry.
So, Eric or Jordan?
I'll go. Let Jordan dive there at the end with you. I'm looking, like I said, I can't remember I can't remember the way that we build to the crescendo of the season. I'm wanting another big kind of plot drop on the main story, like the arching story.
Yeah.
I also want to see, because you say hook, man, it just makes me think of I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Mm-hmm.
Raincoat, big ass fishing hook.
Right.
Was that a fishing hook or was it a meat hook?
It was pretty much like a meat hook, but like a tuna hook, meat hook, something like that.
Okay.
Look,
You know what? A tuna hook's a fish hook, so I'm gonna give point Eric. I probably only ever watched that movie on cable TV, so
It's still the best adaptation of Scary Movie. It's okay. I'm fine. We gotta get rid of the booze. Just throws the bottle. All right, Jordan, what about you? What are you looking forward to?
I was gonna say kind of what you said about the how they look through the journal, Dad's journal. Like, how do we deal with this thing? Oh, we have to get fucking asparagus and all these ingredients, and then we make this concoction, and then we kill the monster with
Asparagus.
it. Kind of like in The Witcher, you learn about the monster, how to beat it, and then you go put it all together and kill it. I guess I'm looking forward to more of that with the new monster.
All right. Any last takes before we shut this thing down?
yes, I would just like to remind everybody that You too can do whatever you like to dream, as long as you have a nice cold Busch Light on your hand. Busch Light. Drink it.
Drink.
Unless
Right.
that dream requires immediately driving somewhere.
I think
Stay home.
Drink
Don't
responsibly.
drink and drive.
Busch Light.
Don't drink underage.
Busch Light.
Don't
Busch
be like
Light.
all those Miller Light drinkers flying down the road, hammered off their ball. Stay home. Be a responsible Busch Light drinker.
Busch Light drinkers. You can't drink and drive unless it's a boat. Busch Light.
Oh my- Please stop it. Stop it. Just I need like a beep over him that entire
a beep
time.
on the boat.
Jordan.
A beep
Just-
on the boat, and then they're like, "What did he say?" I don't know. I think he said blimp.
But like not just a beep.
Bicycle? Like,
Do
what-
like the early 2000s where they put
The
on
long-
Eminem on the radio where they just do like chicken noises over the curse words.
Oh,
Unless it's like.
All right. Other than that, I want to thank you guys for joining in on episode 6 of Super Neutral Bros. If you would like to, feel free to join or I guess donate towards our Patreon and all of our other sites that we're going to have out there. Keep a lookout for those.
we're on Reddit. We'll be on Twitter, possibly. We're not doing
Well,
Facebook.
We'll have a TikTok.
Catch the TikToks.
You know what? They'll all be in the description link below. Right down there.
For myself, Eric, Zach, and Jordan, I would say thank you again for joining and have a good one.
Drive responsibly.
Don't get eliminated.
Don't get eliminated.
There we go.